Live from the Triangle, this is WNCN News at 7.
I'm at the state fairgrounds. You've got to get somebody out here quick.
It just sounded like a bunch of stuff hitting metal.
Just everybody around the area was just sort of frantic.
There's no way that we can minimize the tragedy of the accident.
5 people injured last night after a serious accident at the state fair, but as you can see, back to business tonight. That ride is closed, but the fair is back open, as are many other rides. This is a live look right now from the fairgrounds. Good evening, I'm Penn Holden.
I'm Pam Salisbury. We've been following this story since it broke last night, and police just released 911 calls made shortly after the ride malfunctioned. Take a listen.
I'm at the state fairgrounds. You've got to get somebody out here quick. They're unconscious, they're bleeding. We need help. I don't know who else to call.
The accident happened on the Vortex behind the Expo Center. You can see exactly where it is on this map right here. There are 2 rides called the Vortex. The incident happened on the smaller one near the perimeter of the fairgrounds.
Tonight we've got team coverage. Our Steve Sprasia and Justin Quisenberry are standing by, but first we send it out to Sean Maroney, who leads our coverage. Sean?
Ben, Pam, that's right. I'm coming to you live from the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Now, as the sun has come down, so have the temperatures, and our chief meteorologist, Wes Hohenstein, later on the broadcast will explain that. But it's very similar in conditions right now to what it was about 24 hours ago when we had that incident at the Vortex ride, as you mentioned. Now, that incident sent 5 people to the hospital. 2 of them were released. And let me explain to you what this Vortex ride is, because as you said, there were 2 rides named Vortex, but the one that was involved in the incident was made by an Italian company. It's called Technical Park International. The main arm of the ride would lift hydraulically about 30 degrees and then rotate, and then the arms and the cars on the ends would rotate in opposite direction. Now, this Italian company designed current models of this ride with your legs dangling. The operator can choose the speed and rotation. When the ride moves very fast, the company says the passenger will lose their orientation. They suggest a single ride lasts no more than 1.5 minutes. Now, this isn't the first time that there's been a problem with this ride, and for that I would like to send it to our colleague Steve Sprasia. Steve has more. Steve?
Thank you, Sean. The Wake County Sheriff's Office is the lead investigating agency in this case. They'll be assisted by inspectors from the Department of Labor because that agency is tasked with making sure that all the rides here at this fair are safe. Now, they'll be looking at the mechanical aspects of that machine as well as the operators, and they'll be talking to eyewitnesses. And it's quite possible that some eyewitness accounts may hold the key to what happened. As the Vortex sits idle today, investigators treat their probe as a criminal investigation, according to Sheriff Donnie Harrison.
We have a lot of witnesses to talk to, as we've been doing so since last night, but it takes time.
This past Monday, there was a complaint about the ride. Officials say a bad switch had to be fixed.
It's a solenoid switch on the seat for the passenger carrying device. It locks the person into the seat.
Last night, a carry man noticed something amiss with the Vortex ride as he stood in front of it taking photographs. He told WNCN there was a problem with the safety bar which holds in passengers.
They were trying to get the bars down. The operator was trying to push them down and they wouldn't go down. So after a few minutes of playing with it, he called somebody else over and both of them tried to get the bars down and they wouldn't get them down. So they would raise them all up on both sides, try again, and it wasn't working. So they called a third guy over and he couldn't get them down. And I think between the riders wanting to get going and the operator's a little disgusted a bit with the whole thing, finally one of the guys just grabbed it and just jammed the bars down.
45 minutes later, the accident happened. Right now, officials cannot say if there was a connection between what Ken saw and the issues with the bad switch on Monday.
We're not going to speculate on anything. We've got to make sure we've got every T crossed and I dotted.
As for the Vortex ride,
that particular ride is closed. It will not reopen.
The accident with the Vortex ride obviously shaking up a lot of people here at the fairground. And earlier in the day, as photographer Michael Bernard and I walked through the fairground, we had a number of employees of the fair asking us, what happened? What do you know? They want answers. Investigators want answers. The people who run the fair want answers. They want them as quickly as possible, but they also have to make sure that they get the right answers. Reporting live, I'm Steve Sprasia, WNCN News. Sean, back to you.
Steve, thanks for that. And again, that's right. It's just less than 24 hours since this incident happened, and everyone is investigating into this. All of us at WNCN, we've also been looking into it. And what we did today was we investigated the company that runs the fair here and the safety record behind that. Now, since 2006, North Carolina has contracted with Powers Great American Midway to run the fair. And this is how it works. Now, the company wanted to bring in more rides this year, so they subcontracted out to other companies who would bring in those rides. Now, one of those companies is a Georgia-based company called Family Attractions Amusement Company. Now, Family Attractions brought in one ride, and that ride was the Vortex that was involved in last night's incident. I've reached out to the company, but they still haven't commented. According to their website, and I quote, Family Attractions rides are inspected on a daily basis before opening and are inspected weekly by state inspectors. We're very proud of our safety record. Safety is our #1 priority. So what is that record? According to the Amusement Safety Organization, from 2004 to 2011, Family Attractions had 3 safety incidents in Georgia, all involving rider injuries. Now, Wake County Sheriff Donnie Harrison said that, again, there was a similar incident with this ride, or at least a safety concern with this ride over on Monday evening, where a latch wasn't quite working correctly, a latch that would keep a rider in the ride. And so they investigated it, they fixed it, and they cleared the ride, all within that evening for riders. Now, North Carolina Commissioner Cherie Berry described what exactly goes into the safety process.
We have a 100% rule in North Carolina, which means that unless that ride is 100% in compliance with the manufacturer's specifications to operate, we won't let it open in North Carolina.
Now, the company that I mentioned to you that runs the fair here, Powers Great American Midway, now they inspect the rides, each ride, 3 times a day. And Powers earlier this afternoon sent out a statement saying they were deeply saddened with the incident that occurred last night. Now, North Carolina officials do not actually inspect the rides. However, they do walk around the fair grounds and they do spot checks. Now, what does that mean? That means they go up to the ride, they look at the operator, and they request to see the safety log to make sure that those 3 inspections have been properly performed. Now, North Carolina officials will not tell us whether or not those 3 inspections were done on the Vortex last night. Again, that malfunction of the Vortex sent 5 people to the Wake Med, and that's where we find our Justin Quisenberry. Justin, I'm going to send it to you now.
Sean, of the 5 people brought here to Wake Med, 2 were released, 3 remain in the hospital. We don't know much about these victims other than they range in age from 14 to 39 years old. In fact, these victims have asked authorities not to release their names or their conditions. But we do know that when they were brought here to Wake Med last night, their injuries were serious. An EMS source told us they were all initially unconscious. One had serious head injuries, another had injuries similar to a concussion, our source says. The sheriff says some of the victims are related and one is a ride operator. A fair spokesman says one ambulance arrived on the scene within a minute of the first call, just after 9 last night. All 5 victims arrived here at Wake Med by 9:37 last night. Again, Sean, 3 of those people remain in the hospital tonight. Back to you.
Justin, thank you for that. Now, fair officials are calling this incident an isolated incident. And as I've seen being here the last couple hours of the fair, the turnout has still been pretty packed. And in fact, we're still seeing more people coming in and taking out on the rides. Now, I want to invite in our Derek Waller, who has been talking with people and how they're reacting to all this. Derek, what have you found?
Well, most people that we've spoken with actually, have no problem with this. They believe this was a freak accident and they are going about business as normal. But we did speak with a son and his father earlier today. They were freaked out by this and they want a refund for their tickets. Now, David Young brought about $100 worth of ride tickets for his son Ian as a birthday present. Well, after last night's freak accident, Ian doesn't want to ride the rides anymore.
It was supposed to be something that was going to be fun for us, and when you instill fear or danger into that, I mean, of course people aren't going to want to come.
There's technical issues, and it started up when it wasn't supposed to, and many people got injured and had to go to the hospital, and I just don't want to be one of those people.
And, the fair maintains that these rides are safe. But again, these guys were freaked out. They want a refund. And, Sean, when they called today to try and get one, they were not given one.
Derek, thank you for that and talking to these people. Again, we've been walking around the fair all day today trying to get a sense of how people are feeling about this. Just to recap for you, if you might be joining us, we're coming to you live from the North Carolina Fairgrounds. Again, it's just coming up on 24 hours since the incident that sent 5 people to the hospital late yesterday on the Vortex ride. So far, 3 of those people are still in the hospital. 2 have been released. The ages of those injured range from 14 to 39. In fact, one of those injured was one of the conductors at the ride. It's still a lot of questions, a lot of things that investigators will be looking at as they try to piece together what exactly happened last night. For now, I'm live in the fairgrounds. Sean Maroney, WNCN News. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Sean, Derek, Steve, Justin, thank you all.
This isn't the first safety issue the fair has had to deal with.
Yeah, back in 2011, more than 24 people got sick with E. coli traced back to farm animals.
In 2008, an adult and 2 kids were injured when a roller coaster rear-ended the one they were riding in.
And the big one, back in 2002, a fair worker was killed when a pendulum-style swing hit him in the head. Now, of course, we will continue to follow this story throughout the night. For updates anytime, we invite you to log on to WNCN.com.
The FDA taking action tonight after jerky treats killed hundreds of animals across the country. How they plan to keep your pet safe.
Plus, when the White House vows to have the troubled Obamacare website up and running smoothly.
And we continue to watch temperatures tumble on this Friday night, already down to 49 here in the capital. We know freezing temperatures are coming, but what about the rest of the weekend? We'll tell you what the warmest day will be and changes to the Halloween forecast when we return.
Sound logical reasons to buy the Honda CR-V, the 5-star safety rating, the 31
Live from the Triangle, this is WNCN News at 7.
A gunman is in custody after police say he held several people hostage inside a CVS pharmacy. Happened early this morning in Belmont, which is just outside of Charlotte. Police say Edward Scott Ross even shot at them, narrowly missing 2 officers. He eventually released the hostages and surrendered 6 hours later. Well, if you're a Michael Jackson Thriller fan, you'll get a kick out of this. It's a flash mob at UNC Chapel Hill today. Students, staff, and faculty dancing the Thriller in the Pit. Now, this was in honor of former student body president Eve Carson to raise awareness of the scholarship in her name. Organizers say Thriller was Eve's favorite song, and she loved Halloween, so a perfect fit. Even if you notice one guy who kind of sticks out there, that's the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs who took part, as did the UNC dance team. The Eve Carson Scholarship was established after she was murdered her senior year at North Carolina.
A solution could be in sight for the troubled Obamacare website. The White House says it will bring in an outside contractor to fix healthcare.gov. Until then, officials at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services had the lead role in fixing the problem. The White House pledges to have the site running smoothly by the end of November.
The FDA is pitching a new set of rules to make pet food safer. It would require companies that sell pet food to follow specific sanitation practices. Each company would also have to have a detailed food safety plan and put procedures in place to prevent their food from becoming contaminated. The rules come as the agency tries to figure out what's causing hundreds of pets that eat these jerky treats imported from China to die.
And now your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Wes Hohenstein.
Well, we've dealt with 30s a couple times this week, but tomorrow morning will be our coldest morning as we go into the low 30s. And while we don't like them, you know who likes them less? Bugs. So all those pests you had this summer, they're going to go away after a freeze. Right now, I mean, some of us, look at low 40s in Rocky Mount and Lewisburg and Henderson. So it's a chilly night. I mean, we don't have to wait till after midnight because we're already in the 40s. Some of us could already be in the 30s by midnight tonight. You saw South Hill, as we're dialed in live, just dropped to 41 degrees. So as you head out and about tonight, I mean, by 8 o'clock, so in another hour, we could be in the low 40s here in the Triangle, 37 around midnight, and then a freezing start for the first time in 7 months since last March. So we'll go right around 30 here in the Triangle. We've got clear skies. It's very calm wind-wise, and the atmosphere is very dry. I'm sure you're feeling your hands starting to crack and get dry and itch. When you have a dry atmosphere, it's really easy to see temperatures drop overnight. And that's why not only our area, but most of the state and 11 other states around us have a freeze warning tonight. So freeze warnings when temperatures drop below 32, officially issued for the ag community. Maybe you have plants outside, but something we should take note of as well. I'm going to cover up my sprinkler head, the backflow valve tonight. Not a bad idea to think about that. Maybe drag a plant you like inside the garage, or at least bring it really close to the house. Today was nice, even though it's going to get cold tonight. We had sunny skies, and as we look at a time lapse, it's going. There are just no clouds there for a while. This from our neighborhood network at Davis Drive Elementary. Beautiful sunset. Watch here on the left. But sadly, now that that sun is gone, it's going to get really cold outside. High pressure is usually a good thing, right? Keeps us dry, sunny, comfortable. But when it's right on top of us, which it's going to shift over us tonight, that kind of nullifies any other effects. Any heat we had during the day is going to escape back into the atmosphere. Good news is it's not going to stay below freezing all week, and it will warm up a little bit. Good football weather. Tar Heels in town against Boston College, but temperatures in the 50s from start to finish. NC State picked a good weekend to go south. Unfortunately, they're playing number 3 ranked, I think Florida State is. They're going to be in the 70s, so nice weather, but tough game on the field. And then Duke goes north. They'll spend most of their game in the 50s as they play Virginia Tech. Now, a year ago, do you remember what we were doing? Superstorm Sandy. We are heading into the weekend watching this thing down in the Caribbean. This is the track from the National Hurricane Center. Remember, this is the one that kind of bowed out away from North Carolina and then smashed into the Northeast, $50 billion in damage. So thankfully, we've had a calm season this year, but the 1-year anniversary for Sandy is next Tuesday. So we'll be hearing a lot about that as we head into next week. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this. Here's the numbers we're going to have tomorrow morning. Many of us in the upper 20s and low 30s, all of us below freezing. So bundle up early on, but then enjoy the rest of the day as we'll have sunny skies with temperatures around 59, up to 65 Sunday, 67 Monday, Pam. And then we get into next week. We've got 70s on the way, Wednesday and Thursday. And I mentioned that change for Halloween. I know you've got a great costume picked out this year.
Oh, yes.
Little small chance of rain Thursday, but it will be warm.
Okay, so that itchy, dry skin thing, it's me. It's me. So if anybody knows a remedy, just give me a call. All right. Thank you, Wes and Penn.
trying to think if I can help. I don't know if I've got anything from over here, but thanks, Pam. It's Friday, so time to cue up some pint-sized sports, and it's starting to get real here. Not only are we seeing all the big rivalries, we're seeing prime-time football. So if you thought those 8-year-olds were hyped up before, wait till you see Andrew in Lillington.
I have no idea why that camera's so big.
Well, little guy, we brought the fancy equipment because pint-sized sports goes under the lights. Not only is it homecoming, but 8-year-olds get super hyper past their bedtime.
Huh? Ellie's gonna kick the Bulldog's butt! I'm ready to hit somebody right now.
But early on, hitting was hard to come by. The Lillington Cavaliers were just too fast. Trayvon Sproul took 2 to the house on hearty, high-stepping highlights.
One play touchdown!
You couldn't help but cheer. Luke Fraley added another. You can see the frustration from little Bryson Grimes. Isaiah Ferguson said enough. After all, this game was in front of his mommy, and mommy didn't raise no sissy.
Number 79, all the way, baby!
Anja got the ball, and we witnessed an 8-year-old first. A passing offense that actually worked, led by Nick Avery. Yeah, that guy.
You gonna catch this one for me, baby?
This touchdown a thing of beauty. Avery uncorks a 25-yard bomb. Jamari McClain hauls it in, and the standing room only crowd goes bonkers. A minute left. The game tied. The tension so intense the fans can't stand it. But a hero was born.
Go, JJ, go! Go! Yes!
Sproul once again with a run for the ages. Lillington victorious. One thing left to do before getting these wee warriors in their jammies and off to bed, a post-game interview.
And that's pretty much almost all we have to say.
What did he say?
And that's pretty much all we have to say.
You know, I need to see them next to adults because just by themselves, they look like they're big, but they're kids.
Yeah, they're little. And that was
They're
our first a
pint-sized.
cappella pint size, by the way. There was no music.
I didn't miss a thing.
Anyway, we're coming right back. Back with a recap of our top story. 5 people injured last night in a ride at the State Fair.
Tonight, we're digging deeper into the rules for amusement rides. North Carolina is one of the tougher states on ride operators. We're one of 24 states with government oversight of amusement rides. We check back in with our Sean Maroney live at the fairgrounds tonight with how our state holds these ride operators accountable.
That's right, Pam. Now, these operators that run these rides, like the Vortex, they have a long list of rules that they have to follow. Let me spell out some of the major ones that we found in North Carolina state law. An owner is required to make a pre-opening inspection and test the device before each day the device is used. They also need to keep 12 months worth of records of those inspections. Anyone running the ride needs to be at least 18 years old and can't be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Now, if any of those things are violated, the penalty can range from $250 all the way up to $1,000 per incident. Reporting live in the fair, I'm Sean Maroney, WNCN News.
All right, thank you, Sean, and we're coming right back.
You know, we want to end tonight with some positive news about the fair. Remember, yesterday was Hunger Relief Day. Anyone who brought in 5 cans of food for the food bank got in for free, and they collected over 231,000 pounds of food. That equals nearly 195,000 meals. Last year, the fair collected 214,000, so they beat the mark from last year. Very good news.
Clearly chilly there then, but now it's really chilly.
Yeah, so if you're still heading out tonight to watch fireworks or you're going out early tomorrow, make sure you're dressed for it. About 6 or 7 a.m., that's our coldest part of the day this time of year. Those are the numbers we will have. No wind chill, and then we're going to warm up. We've got a sunny weekend.